So, this picture, I found this picture today, just killed me. Loved it. Do you see the website on there? Exercisesforinjuries.com. Love that. Somebody tell me why his plank is not quite right. That's exactly right.
It's a big outfit.
It is a big outfit, but he's got a pretty big slope in there, right? So what's happened here is he didn't have quite the stability and strength that he needed when he took the picture, and so instead of being straight towards the ground, he kind of made this angle towards the ground. So that's the problem. So, just like in running, you need proper form. When you do your exercises and your planks especially, you need proper form. Okay? If your form is bad, then your plank, stop. Rest a second and try again. Don't just push through the exercise and injure yourself doing exercises, or train your body wrong so that as soon as you start running, you injure yourself because you train wrong. Okay? So, if we want to talk about injury prevention, I'm going to use my buddy who does World Strongman competitions. Have you guys ever watched those? These guys like pull semi-trucks and throw logs around for the fun of it. Anyway, the guy's 350 pounds. One time I watched him, he did 2 squats. And he put the bar down. And I went over, I'm like, seriously, I'm pretty sure you can do more. And he said, yeah, but my form stopped being correct. So as soon as he noticed that he was fatigued enough that his form broke, that's when he stopped doing the reps. Same thing with us. All right, if you're doing planks and your form breaks, take a break, shake it off, try again. If your form breaks again, shake it off, try one more time. If you can't get it, then take a break. Okay, don't keep training. When you're running, if your form breaks in the middle of your run, you need to basically stop and recollect yourself. Get it back together. If you push through it just because you're going for the time, you will hurt yourself. Okay? If you're in the middle of a run and say your goal is 5 miles and you're 3 miles in and you feel your form give and you can't get it back together, then I would recommend turning around, going home, walking back, whatever you got to do, and then start again the next day. Because the worst thing would be to meet your goal but hurt yourself and not allow you to run later. Okay? That's injury prevention basics right there. When your form breaks, stop. So, here we go. Rest is your new best friend. Why? Who loves to run? I'll tell you. Love it, okay? Who loves to run every single day? Who ran at noon in the heat? Okay, so when is rest appropriate? Right? Sleep, a good night's sleep, that's right. Okay, when is rest not appropriate? Trick question, right? Yeah, rest is always appropriate, okay? Basically what you're doing is you're taking your body and you're putting it through a really structured, really hard workout. I would compare your running activities and your exercises to going and doing a really good workout in the gym, especially if you're doing more than 2 miles, right? So if you're not getting proper rest, then your body doesn't fully recover, and then you're basically combining all your workouts into a chain and you just rip your body apart. And pretty soon it can't recover, and that's when you get injury. Okay? So rest. Good ideas to rest is when you have basically pains and aches that aren't going away. No matter if you change your form, no matter if you change the terrain or change your shoes, stuff like that is pretty much indicative that you injured yourself and now you need to take a break. Okay? Rest also is good if you feel like you need it. Now typically, the reason I wrote this is because people will say, well, I kind of feel like I should rest, but I really don't want to. Or they say, well, my knee's been hurting for a while, but I really don't want to rest. That's pretty much means they probably should have rested a couple weeks ago. And they've been doing 20, 30 miles a week still. Okay, that's kind of the problem in running. That isn't such a problem in every other sport, and I think it's because of the way that running works in our body. Has anybody ever heard about the runner's high? Anybody ever had the runner's high? It's pretty sweet. Okay, so the runner's high is basically a chemical release that goes through your body and hits your brain. It makes you addicted to running, which also makes it harder for you to rest when you really need it. Okay, that's something that we need to recognize. I really can't rest because I love running so much. I love the way I feel, all that. Basically what you're saying to me is the chemicals that I get called endorphins make me feel so amazing that I'm not going to rest because I want that high again. Well, all that's going to do is make you more injured. Okay? So, if you push through it and you become injured and then you push through the injury and you keep running, pretty soon you come to a point where you show up in my office and we say something like, you probably need to rest for weeks at a time now, 3 weeks, maybe 4 with ice, and that's going to be worse than resting a couple of days. Okay? When to use ice and when to use heat? Who knows? Okay. True. She says ice is right after the injury because that's when it's going to be most inflamed. True. When do you use heat? For muscle problems, like a cramp, like a Charlie horse. Ladies, why do you use heat pads once a month? Right? For cramps. Just saying. No relation. But the reason you don't use ice is because ice is for pain and inflammation. Heat is for cramps. Okay, if you have a Charlie horse in your calf or in your thigh, then you would put some heat on it to relax the muscle. If your knee's swollen and painful, then you use ice. Okay, so ice for pain, ice for swelling, heat only for cramps. Basically, the way that we put our bodies through some of this stuff when we run, the best choice is almost always ice. Unless your leg is so cramped up you can barely walk on it and heat it. Okay? So, here's a little bit about nutrition. Eat healthy, eat small amounts, and eat often. What do you see there? Eat, right? There's a lot of people, I know these people, they run, and then they eat just a little bit because they want to lose weight. That's why they're running. But it's probably the worst thing they can do because what they're doing is running their body without fuel. Okay? There's a lot of things that we need in our diet to give our bodies so that we can run injury-free. Who knows what good fats are? What are good examples of good fats? Okay. Omegas, fish. Okay. Nuts. Exactly right. What else?
Avocado.
Perfect. Right? Avocado, almonds, fish. Good fats. All of those will give lubrication to your joints, especially your knees. And that will help you to keep enough basically fluid inside the knee, so when you run on it, you rebuild that fluid every time by replacing the fat, so you can then run it and glide through your knee again. Okay, carbs. What about carbs? Why do we need carbs?
To fuel the muscle.
Okay, that's right. To fuel the muscle. Because the muscle basically runs off of sugar for as long as it can. Okay? Then what about protein? When do we need protein? For rebuilding all the time, yeah. The best time to eat protein is actually, it sounds really gross if you're going to run a lot of miles, but before. So typically I eat my protein after my run, but before my weight training. Because if you're going to go and rip the muscle apart, you need the protein in your body so that your body knows it's now going to build the muscle up instead of just rip it down. So I take protein before weight training and after the run. It needs to be in the body somewhere when the muscle has actually been used. Okay? And then go to the next slide, sorry. There we are. Greens. What about greens? Not chlorophyll. Collard greens, turnip greens. Kale. Kale. Okay, there you go. Thanks. Right. What about greens? What are greens for? I don't what do you call it? Antioxidant. It's an antioxidant, exactly right. And if you eat certain types of greens, what it actually does is it gives you a little bit of fiber in your diet. Because when you run, a lot of us get dehydrated, and then you get constipated, and that's not ever a fun combination. Okay, so you're going to need water and fiber, and the greens for the antioxidants. Okay, so now I have a picture up here of some pills on a spoon. Why is that? Does anybody know? When is it best to eat the right food, and when is it best to take the right supplement? Good question, right? Okay, so here's the way it breaks down. As far as omegas go, I love fish. Salmon, a good nice piece of salmon will give you about 1/2 or less of 1 pill of omegas. So if you're taking an omega pill, you take usually 2 capsules a couple times a day. A big piece of salmon only substitutes 1/2 of 1 pill. So as far as omega load goes, salmon's not really your best choice, but it's one of the best sources available of omegas. Okay, the good news is when you eat the product in food itself, what you get is the omega plus the transmitter that carries it into your body properly, and so it can be used more efficiently and effectively. When you take the supplement, there's a good chance that some of that's just getting dumped. So the right answer for that question is that you should eat good food and take proper supplements, especially when you need it. If you're injured or you're trying to come back from something, or you're prepping for a big race or a big competition, supplements would probably be a good idea. If you're just maintaining, I don't know necessarily if you would need them or not. It depends on your individual sleep. Okay? So